the agenda?
So moved.
Just second.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor? Any opposed? All right. Approval of the minutes. We get an approval for the minutes of the last meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. We're ready to get started, I do believe here. 1 South Main Street. Come on forward.
Do we come up here?
Yeah, come right on up.
Okay.
Please do.
Mr. Chair, these my neighbors across the street, and after speaking with our city administrator, I'm going to recuse myself.
All right.
Okay.
All right, for the record, Ms. Rose has recused herself from this case. All right, you want to introduce yourself? I know we all know you. Introduce yourself. Tell me what you want to do.
Glad to be here. My husband Michael and I, first of all, want to say how very happy we were able to purchase this iconic building in Berlin. We have no immediate plans to change anything except the back drive-through parking lot, which we'd like to make a little green space for anyone in the town to use. So Michael's been building these planter boxes that we are really going to kind of cut off the pedestrian traffic around that corner where it's kind of dangerous.
Right.
So that will be blocked off, and in
Where the mini
pamphlet-
sidewalk is.
where
There
the
is no
sidewalk, they took that sidewalk away, so it's kind of dangerous.
Mini
but-
sidewalk was.
Right, so the picture of me, which I didn't know was going to be in here, it shows about the size of the planters, so you get an idea that a car couldn't run through them easily. So they will go the perimeter of the asphalt driveway with a break closest to baked, where we're hoping to build like a lattice work arch. And our little park is going to be called Evermore Park for the Everett and Moore grandchildren. It's the building's in a trust for our grandchildren. So we will also, there are pictures in here of different things that we're going to plant in the areas. Some are existing flower beds that we're just going to dig out and plant new things in there. And also, there was the cute little butterfly that Hunter from Fathom did. She painted that with her children. So Patty Backer from the Dusty Lamb is going to do something else for us there, so people will feel welcome to come and take a picture in the park.
Okay.
And we're going to try to disguise the ugly drive-through window with lattice and flowering jasmine. Of course, it's going to take a little while, but maybe we can hope that it grows really quickly to kind of take that eyesore away. And we've also ordered 3 concrete, we used to call them umbrella tables and benches like we all grew up with,
Right.
to be placed in the center there for anyone to have lunch there or just rest or whatever, to use the park as they wish. So I'm trying to think if it's really pretty simple.
Right.
What-
It's a great idea. I mean,
Thank-
I think the one thing Berlin lacks with all its charm is landscaping, because so many of the older trees died.
Right.
And there isn't that much sidewalk room to plant trees, so that's really going to be a lovely pocket.
Good.
And
Used to
great
be
idea. Very
in front of the
generous
hotel.
idea.
In front of the hotel was green space, but now after the pandemic, it's restaurant tables, and you used to be able to hang out there, but now you can't do that.
Right.
Well, there are Adirondack chairs that we
Up on
keep up
the,
front.
yeah, up there, I like that. Well, when I used to live in Washington Street, we sat up there almost every night. This was a gift from her grandfather to his grandchildren. And we in turn have turned it into a trust for our grandchildren. So it should be in that trust for, I estimate, probably another 40 years. So
We hope.
there isn't gonna be anything happening in that building for At least I see.
In
it
our
now.
lifetime.
Not my lifetime.
Very good.
What a nice thing for you guys
Oh
to
my
do.
gosh,
because, I mean,
Milford
you
be
could-
so proud.
You could rent that space, but instead you're doing it something.
Yeah,
nice
Doing it for the town, to give back to the
Lovely,
town.
yeah.
And you're investing in it as well.
Oh,
Yes, oh, yes.
This
yes,
is all
out
our
of
money.
pocket,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, this
Very
is,
nice.
so the
Thank you.
landscaping alone is about $5,000.
Right.
And then the sweat equity, we
The
won't put a
whole
price
wall
on that.
along Baked is gonna be these flower boxes, there'll be 3 of them, they're 8 feet by 2 feet, and they're all gonna be Encore azaleas, so they'll bloom 3 times a year.
And then back by the Dusty Lamb, the back of there is going to be Nandinas and hostas in that area. And then we think Japanese boxwoods for the,
All along the
all
street.
along the street side, with some flowers planted in between seasonal perennials or annuals going in there.
Well, I think the most important thing is that you're thinking about cars, you know, and pedestrians.
Right,
And this does look like something that would, once it's filled with dirt, would be. you know,
right.
Very
Indestructible.
substantial, yeah.
Right.
Are you
Oh.
thinking about staining the wood?
I'm sorry, wait, no, not at first, I'm gonna let it, I'd rather it be natural myself, but,
I was just curious.
yeah. So,
It's pressure treated
salt
lumber,
treated, yeah.
salt treated lumber.
And right now, those boxes, I have my landscaper, Scotland Yards, who's gonna be doing all the landscaping. He's our landscaper at my house. He came and looked at the boxes, and they're gonna weigh tons by the time he gets finished with them and stuff like that, so I don't think,
That's
And,
good.
and also, I was thinking that we can plant some trailing things that kind of cover, soften the wood too.
Nice.
Something that will keep growing and not die every year.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, I'm thinking right away the vinca vines were
Right.
so hardy, and if it usually comes back, if you cut it back, sometimes and it's got leaf mulch and all on it through
Exactly.
the winter, it should do well there. And you know, something I'm thinking about when you're talking about the window, Carol, help me on this. When the 2 young men had Laura behind the hotel, you'll refer to that as like the stable, the building?
Oh, yeah.
Remember they wanted to cover up was it air conditioning or some sort of a return? And they had
yeah,
faux
but-
boxwood, which looked like boxwood,
Right.
and it was used on a,
Well, we
But
didn't,
it didn't last, Mary, and the elements of
it
it
just didn't work out.
it
I
really,
was
well,
wondering.
it got really messy looking at
Okay,
the
I knew
time.
something, but I couldn't remember what it was.
I was afraid that wouldn't gel with the historic part.
I wanna be a good neighbor,
I
So-
think what they want to do is look like.
yeah, I wanna be a good neighbor. But all those air conditioning units that are sitting there in that parking lot are all on our property, and they all belong to the building next door.
To the bank? Oh, no.
No, they belong to whoever owns the Baked
The Baked.
building and
Oh,
stuff like that.
oh, gotcha,
So-
all right, I was,
But there's 3 or 4 of them over there. I'm gonna just, on one corner of it, I'm going to put a bush. Robin has a couple of terracotta pots with bushes in them. I'm gonna move 2 of those up to cover one of them. And the other ones, I'm gonna put 2 4x4 posts and just have a lattice that can be pulled off of it, just to hide them.
If they need to
Because
be worked on.
I can't,
just-
I'm not gonna ask somebody to move them, they should have never been put there. I don't know how that happened, but it happened a long time ago, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
So, but there's 3 or 4 of those units back there that, you know,
well, I think everything else is gonna look so nice, maybe today's eye, people are just sort of used to seeing that.
oh, it just,
Right,
yeah.
right.
So, anyway,
Can I make one suggestion, and it is just a suggestion, but can you encourage your landscaper to consider more native species for the planting? It's just something we encourage in the town.
Sure,
What would
I'm-
you suggest when you say, I'm curious, because having
Right.
been in the landscaping business for years,
Right.
what would you suggest to them when you make that broad?
I don't have the knowledge
Oh.
to suggest species, but I do know that, for instance, Nandina is an Asian plant, not native to the
But it
United
does
States.
do
that
very
kind of
well
thing.
in
yeah,
Worcester
they've been
County.
in every
I
house I
understand,
go
but it's
in
not
Berlin,
native.
they're all
Yeah.
over Berlin.
And it has
Yeah.
color and berries.
I understand, I'm just asking you
Right.
to consider.
I asked Scotland Yards to give me a list of plantings, and those are what he suggested.
That are tolerant,
Right.
quick growers, But, yeah, not
And
a
that
bad
ornamental
suggestion.
cherry tree, we've already got, I have one of those in my front yard, that's one in the front yard, but one of those will be
Yeah.
in that garden by the,
There's a telephone pole, try to soften that telephone pole up a little
We have a
bit, right
question.
across.
Someone in the back with a question, or?
Yeah, speaking on native plants, there was just a talk at the Ocean City Golf Course a few weeks ago.
Right.
And there's a website called the Native Plant Finder where you can put in your zip code and it will give you a list of what bushes, trees, plants are native to the region to help
Okay.
you to build a pollinator garden.
Right.
Or to sort of rejuvenate this particular region.
Okay,
So I have the website, I'd be happy to.
Sure, I'd love to get that from you. Sounds great.
If that was an avenue that you wanted to go down and research, there
Sure.
is a local expert that lives on Washington Street, and she is part of the horticulture committee for Berlin.
But Cape Cod?
No, but she worked for Kate. Victoria's Place, you could probably get her information from the town administrators, I'm sure.
yeah, Kate was our neighbor.
Thank you.
So Kate is also a good resource.
Yeah.
I had a question
Go
real
ahead.
quick before. What will the lattice look like?
Well,
Like-
it's,
Is it just like, the white lattice?
no,
Oh,
it's
I couldn't-
wood, no,
brown.
it's pressure treated, it's 3/4 inch, it's thicker because it's a thick 4x8 sheets of it, but not the thin, it's much thicker.
It has to support the,
It's all wood.
the plant,
Everything's
all
wood.
wood, everything's all wood.
I just was asking, because it's hard to tell.
Right,
How's it going to be
So-
fastened into the building?
it'll
Is there
be
no-
brown.
Actually,
Yeah.
Will it
And
be
just out of
freestanding?
curiosity, I'm not trying
Yeah.
to, you guys are doing this.
No, no, no.
I'm sorry.
His question was, how is it gonna be
Okay.
fastened to the wall?
Okay, out of this, there's a 12-foot long
Right, yeah.
planter box underneath the bottom. Inside that is gonna be attached a 2x4, which is gonna go up and just touch and attach to that green board along the top. That's it. 2 screws in that board, 2 screws in that board, down at the bottom, and then from there, there'll be 12-inch wide 2x4s coming out, and there'll be another 2x4 coming down to the middle of that planter box, and then 2x12s across, and it'll just be straight up there and down the side, so that eventually that lattice will grow all the way up and around it to cover that almost the
On
entire wall.
3 sides.
Well, what's nice is the jasmine doesn't have to be that big before it covers the window.
Oh, yeah, they really,
Because they come up pretty good size.
Yeah.
Right.
That's all my.
Right, Brian, did you have anything else to,
No, I just
any
wanted to know.
question, anything? You okay?
Yeah.
Mary, any more? Any-
No, and that looks like a wonderful idea to me, and I'm looking at here, I like the ideas of what you presented, and of course, in Ireland, of course, there's nothing more native to the eastern shore than boxwood, which came from English, in England, it's so hardy, because it doesn't have to be watered all the time.
Exactly.
Being a hardwood, too, and some of the nurseries still have some decent sized ones, and they look great year-round, too. A lot of the problem that we've seen with the native plants is, they really have to be taken care of, or it ends up and looks like just a weed pile sometimes, and particularly
Right.
low and trying to do with water things, and it really is a definition of, are you looking for something, aesthetic, and I think a mix of whatever you all think would be the best plants, I think would be a great idea. I would hate to hold your hand to a fire thinking you had to do native, because we've dealt a lot with Worcester County and landscapers, and what we've had to go look for all over the East Coast for that, and it's tricky. It's a wonderful concept, but it's very hard at times to find just the right plant for what you need it for. That doesn't need doesn't end up looking sort of, for lack of a better word, messy. It's very wild-looking, natural growing, and sometimes it works perfectly, maybe in a park setting or wild kind of by our woods, but in an area like that, it would be more difficult, I think, to just hold yourself to that little group of plants.
Right, and I know our landscaper said the, what do I want to call it, the projector, or the light is kind of the same as what's on the front porch of the hotel, the same, what am I talking about?
Sunlight during the
Not
day,
a lot
amount of
of
sunlight.
Yeah, not a lot of daylight, so we had to, and we went with suggestions that he made for us, what would thrive, what would be quick growing, what would hold color, and what he thought would do well in this
Well,
particular little area.
what you've chosen also goes well with Victorian. I think azaleas have been around. That's one of
Right.
the oldest.
All those native
Right.
members.
You know,
Right.
maybe the Nandina might be like something kind of newer, but like and the jasmine, that's a
jasmine,
whole southern.
And hopefully that'll attract butterflies, and we hope to have another painting in there, so people will come, have their lunch there, take their picture, welcome to Berlin, something
Yeah.
like
That's
that.
really nice, really lovely thought.
Yeah, I think it's very nice too. So, someone want to entertain a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve as presented, case number 4-5-23-05.
And I'll second that motion.
All right, we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and any opposed? So unanimous?
Thank you very much for your
Work.
time.
Gotta get to work.
He looks forward to starting.
You know, we've all been done by, but anyway,
He's
it'll all be
getting
done
a
this weekend.
replacement first, so we got a lot of work to do
Thanks, you
before we
guys.
get surgery.
I can't wait.
I was gonna have hip surgery done Thursday, but I'm putting that off so I can do this instead.
Thanks, take him aside.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just had hip surgery 8 weeks ago. Complete replacement.
Well, we're gonna try.
And it's worth it.
Yeah, we're gonna give it a shot.
It's very much worth it.
You hobbled in here very nicely.
What's that?
You hobbled in here very nicely.
All right, let's, 8 Jefferson Street. Is that over, Amy?
Okay. Yeah, they all know who we are. All right.
All right, welcome back.
Thank you very much.
All right, we know who you are. Go ahead and tell us if we have some changes or
No, just some
some
clarifications.
clarifications. All right, go ahead.
Last month, the window request had been tabled
Right.
because it did not relay clearly in my original design. So I came with a more complete rendering of what the finished house is intended to look like. The only thing that I do not have approval from the Historic Commission for currently are the windows. Everything else you see in the drawing, I have approval for the ramp, the doors, the brickwork, the siding, the roof. So, I created this drawing essentially to bring to you, but in the interim, I was told by Ivy Wells that there was a facade grant opportunity, so I applied for that and found out yesterday I was approved for a portion of it,
Yeah, isn't that great?
based on this current drawing and information. So I'm hoping to get approval for the windows so I can move forward, because I've got 12 months to finish this project, according to them.
Oh, that's right, because there was someone that got one last year that didn't finish the work and had to get the money back, or
Yeah.
didn't get the money, yeah.
Yes.
Well, you got 6 months to get it done from us.
I just need approval.
Okay. I hear you.
So
I
I'm
like
hoping the drawing,
Definitely a lot better.
Yeah, it's much easier to see what you're trying to accomplish.
I agree.
You know, it's
Did we
interesting, when
already
you handed it
approve
back
the
off after last week, it turned out, or last month, very well.
If we've approved.
With the grant?
So the
I-
windows look like they
pleasant.
changed from your original drawing? They have a vertical,
They
two
are,
panes on each one?
yes,
Do they
because
open, do they swing open, or?
those would just be plate glass, picture windows. Now, on the sides of the porch, those will have windows that can open for airflow. But the front facade, actually, this drawing is by Diru Tadani, who was in town, gave a speech, gave a talk at the library last week. He actually came by my house. He was in the audience last month when we had this meeting. He came by the house the day after with Ron Cassio and talked to me about how the way my house is designed, how it should be based on historical record, where it's a 3-panel temple look.
Right.
And then Ron forwards me this drawing a couple days later that Diru had done.
Isn't that great?
That was amazing.
Great, yeah.
So I took the comments from the last meeting, which one of them was you should consult with a professional on how this should look.
What happened?
And I didn't
Fell in
even
your lap.
consult, it fell right in my lap, so.
Because Laura was just asked, she said, did we approve the railing and all that? Because we've never,
That was done a long time ago.
That was a few
That was
years ago.
some years.
the railing right, this
Uh-huh,
part?
that was all
on the-
done
and the back?
Not,
before you were even.
okay, so I do need to clarify, I did not have the porch for the new door on the side,
On the
so
side.
I don't know.
Well, it should match.
Yeah, well, that's the point, that's why I added it to the drawing. And I needed some way to get into that door, so I tried to design it so that it would match the way that the
I love that drawing.
path will.
I like the drawing a lot.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's easier to visualize now.
And I totally understand, like, no hard feelings on the last meeting. I understand I have this vision that I can see. My wife tells me all the time, well, I don't know until you show me. And I'm a hard head. I'm like, well, by the time I show you, it's finished. So you won't have an opportunity to change it at that point. And I realize that's my fault. I'm
No, it's
getting-
an artist's mind, you're carrying it around with you, is what
That,
it is.
it's just that, that's why a lot of times we ask people to just kind of rethink and come back. It's not that we want to try and lie down, so
And he
it was
really-
lucky,
This came back, that's great.
it was beautiful,
I think this
beautiful.
looks so much better with the longer windows.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I
Just that
agree.
one gauge, that's
I agree.
a lot of style.
It's really gonna
Which
change.
is what I was trying to relay, but my drawing was just replacing the openings that I have. And his suggestion was, no, you should extend it to the floor, because if you look at other older buildings,
Strong style.
every structure on the first floor has tall vertical windows. Square windows are small, they're on the second or third
Right.
floor, but your presentation on the first floor is skinny and tall. Also, I appreciate Brian coming by after the last meeting so that we could talk at the site so that I could try to relay a little bit more of what I had planned.
And the fact that the windows are broken up instead of those big plate glass, is so
Yeah.
much more attractive.
Yeah. I was thrilled when
Very
this came
impressive.
through.
Looking good. Brian, did you have anything else?
And
that
I
you wanted
have,
to
I
add?
have vision, because I do old houses myself, but I just didn't know what was in your mind.
No, and I
And
appreciate
this is-
that.
Yeah.
This looks so much better.
Beautiful, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, and
Got a lot of
hopefully you see,
character.
we're almost finished with the board and batten siding on the first floor. We're gonna work on getting that door installed this week, and then we'll get the second floor siding going, and little by little, it's coming together.
Go ahead, Brian.
Good.
All right,
I'll make a
Go
motion,
ahead.
if anyone else has any questions, I will make a motion to approve as presented, case 4-5-23-05 for Matt, and the address, I can't even say it on here.
8 Jefferson.
8 Jefferson, here we go, yes, as presented and revised.
have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, unanimous. You're
Thank you very
good.
much.
Thank you,
I
Matt.
appreciate all the input.
Well, I think
That's-
it's
forward to
worked out
getting
very
this.
well.
I think that waiting just a little bit really helped out there.
Can't thank everyone who talked to me in the past month for all the information, especially
It looks great.
being able to relay that visually. So thank you very much.
Yeah,
I
very
appreciate it.
Look forward to
Fast
seeing it.
work.
Yeah.
Thanks, me too.
Thank you.
Any comments from the public? Do you have any public comments? Nothing? Staff? From the staff, anybody?
How's Dad doing?
How
He's
is it?
hanging
Is he
in
on the
there.
mend?
Hopefully, yes.
Let's please tell him we're all thinking
Yeah,
of
we're all
it.
thinking of it. Commissioner, do you have anything to say? Anybody anything to say?
Well, that's unusual.
One thing the last few times.
Everybody sure, nothing to say? I don't really have anything either, so we got a motion for
I
adjournment.
move we adjourn.
We have a second?
Second.
We Have a second? All right, meeting adjourned. That was not a nice.
We were nice tonight.
Oh, Lord,
It's
if you don't mind, I can finish Yeah, let's do that, like, I mess up, where they